Good evening, family. And we welcome you to the 16th part of The Prophet by Kahlil Gibran. And my name is Arlene Kahet. Kahet means purifying light of God. And this is my beloved King Teasdell, also known as King Obadele.
And check this out, right? I got this thing going on now because there's this new theorem that's about to kick into full gear called Kingology. And sometimes they say when it's time to have something new, you have to reinvent yourself. So listen to this pronunciation. King Obadele Andere Teasdell. That's the new me, y'all. True to that. And I'm evolving into something that is more expressive of the divine nature that was intended from the very start. So if I turn into a being of light before your eyes, have no fear. I'll come back. I think.
That's very reassuring.
Well, it's like sometimes when you haven't done anything, the first time you do it, you have to figure out how to do the rest of it. That's how I never bothered with trying to disappear like a magician. Because what's the guarantee you're going to come back? I don't know, because I'm not into that. So I'm not even worried about it, never gave it any thought. So poof, out of here. But we are honored to have your presence here because this is a brand new year. And with it being a brand new year, there is a brand new perspective without going into what has been, but to acknowledge that what has been need be no more. All right? So you evolve out of the cocoon, if you will. For have you ever seen a butterfly return back to the chrysalis of which it came out of and fold itself back up in there and say, okay, I'm going to stay here instead? Nah. It's almost impossible. It doesn't happen because once your wings develop to take on a new experience, you don't want to go back. Plain and simple. But the thing is to develop the new experience so that the experience can be a new experience that is so exciting, it gets rid of the old stuff automatically. Think about it. I remember the first time I had a car that I loved the car so much to where I didn't even recognize it was falling apart. It was a Plymouth, I think it was called a Plymouth Coronet. And it used to be a police car. And that thing was fast. It had things going on. It was the wind-up windows, but that was okay back then because that's the way things were. But I was starting to have engine problems and brake problems and tire problems and wiper problems. And my father is a mechanic, so he helped me out with a lot of things. But he said to me one day, he said, listen, he said, I want you to go down the shop and let me know it's one of those cars down there you want to take with you because your car is shot. I think he was embarrassed I was driving the thing. I wasn't. It was like it was still running. I was happy. So he sent me down there, and there was these two vehicles. One was a Chevy Impala. This was like a 72 Chevy Impala or something like that. 74 maybe. And then the other car was a 79 Cadillac Sedan DeVille. I looked at that and I was like, oh, he must be working on this car for one of his customers, so this must not be the other car. So I walked around the shop to the other shop and asked the guys, I said, Dad sent me around here to go check this car out. And he said there were two cars over there, but I only see one. And he said, you don't see that other car that's sitting on that lot? I said, well, yeah. He said, well, that's what he was talking about. I said, the Cadillac? And he was like, yeah. I went back around there, and I think they gave me the keys, and I went and cranked the thing up, and the thing actually started on the first turn. You know, of course, the other car didn't. I have to pet the gas. Pet the gas. And then once I got enough gas up in there like that, I stepped on it, and it was like... But see, I was able to get it started because even if I had to go, even if I had to go get some gas to pour inside of the carburetor, at least I could get it started. So I was good, right? But shucks, I got this Cadillac out there, and she boom start, and it was so smooth. I was like, ooh, and so it tickled me because when I mentioned this to the guys, they said, I don't know why he told you there was two cars that I had to get, because the other car we already taken the parts off of. So the only one he's talking about was the Cadillac. So he must be messing with your head. And I was like, oh snap! Power windows. You know that song, Diamond in the Back. Diamond in the Back. Digging the scene with the gangster lean. Ooh, true that. Because it had all the power stuff. I was like, oh, even had a CD in it. Now, of course, I'm talking like the early 80s. So CDs were still happening back then. You know, I had cassette player. I mean, it was Cadillac. I was like, oh my gosh. I was so excited. Almost excited as I was today.
Now, was it at the 8-track or was it?
No, it had a cassette player, girl. Okay. What you talking about?
Shucks,
girl, I'm telling you. Shucks, the defroster would work in it too. I was like, come on, man. Shucks, that other car, the defroster wouldn't even work. I said, and the wiper blades, I tell you, I was in such a condition with that other car. If it rained, I had to make a device. At first, I actually had the umbrella out the window if by chance I really had to go somewhere in a hurry, because I would hold I wouldn't drive but so fast, and I'd hold the umbrella to keep the rain from hitting the window too hard, because you have to see where you're going. And so I couldn't figure out what was going on. We had to get a motor for the thingamajig, so I ended up deciding to go, and I hooked up a jury rig, some kind of hanger thing. And so then when it started raining, I would hook that onto there, and then I would just stick my hand out the window and be driving down. My arm would get wet, but I was okay because I could see. Drive with one hand to see with the other. That was. But when there's a newness thing going on, it is just such an amazing experience. And so you got to upgrade, y'all. You got to upgrade. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what this thing here is about. It's about friendship. As we hear this clipping going on, we're not going to pay attention to no one behind the curtain. What's up, Rock? How you doing? Hey, Fran, peace and blessings. Hey, what's that? Lance. Hey, Lance, how's it going? Happy New Year's to everybody, because it's still kind of fresh. Once the 15th comes along, then half the year is already gone. Half the month is already gone, which then makes it a little old, and then, you know, you just don't want to get any crust on it, but that's okay. You know, I'm just saying. So...
No crust.
I'm just saying, you know. It's still fresh, you know. You still got 12 more months to go. Someone had mentioned to me that it was interesting today. They said that we should look at 2020 as winter. And if we look at our seasons from a different perspective, we just came out of the winter of 2020 so that we can enjoy the spring. Okay? So if we all trust in our hearts that we are entering the spring of a winter gone past, we'll see the love and the joy that the newness of life brings. How you like that?
Hey, I'm all for it.
Yeah, yeah.
I know that I'm ready for a little bit more sanity and stability.
As long as just that other people wasn't acting right.
You
I
know,
mean, but
hey,
I
I mean,
disconnect myself from. There's
you know,
sometimes you have to disconnect. Now, what we've got here is speak to us of friendship, and friendship is an interesting quality because friendship doesn't have a disconnect. I want you to think about that. True friendship doesn't have a disconnect. True friendships have reunions and what they call kind of like elasticity.
mm-hmm. They,
Like a
you
rubber
know that
band.
friend that you call up and it's like you know, you may not have actually talked to them in like months, but when you get together, it's like, hey, yeah, you know, you're just catching up, and it's like, you know, you talked to them yesterday.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And see, I've got friendships that's over 40 years old. Let's see, when I left college, it was 1978. So that's definitely been over 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I came out of high school, that was 75. So that was over 50 years ago.
Maybe if you said 75, then that's about uh, 45 years ago.
75 is only 45 years ago?
Yes, because
Really?
I'm 46 and I was born in 74.
What? Girl, I'm telling you. Ain't that something? All right, let me calm myself down. I can get real excited, y'all.
Yes,
I'm telling you.
yes, he can.
So, we are here to share the wisdom of Kahlil Gibran, the prophet, which is his book, one of many books he has written. And of this book, we have this section on page 58 that we shall begin the reading and then we'll have some more discussion.
You ready?
Yeah, I just wanted to show them that Kahlil Gibran was really a very
Talented artist
interesting,
as well.
talented person. Yeah, because I mean, you know, it's amazing. The books are amazing. You know, that's his drawing right there. He's more than an artist. He's a spiritual, infused individual, and when you're there, you need to share. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Yeah, already.
You ready?
Yeah.
You ready?
Do you want to read part of this too, or should I just read the whole thing?
No. I mean, it's very
It's very short,
short.
I know.
So you know.
And do you want to pause in between the paragraphs?
No, you could.
No, just read the whole thing.
Yeah.
All right, then
You could just flow with it.
all right.
I'll start it with it.
I'll drink some water while you do that.
Okay. So. And as you've said, speak to us of friendship. And he answered, saying,
Your friend is your needs answered. He is your field which you sow with love and reap with thanksgiving. He is your board and your fireside. For you come to him with your hunger and you seek him for peace. When your friend speaks his mind, you fear not the nay. in your own mind, nor do you withhold the eye. And when he is silent, your heart ceases not to listen to his heart. For without words in friendship, all thoughts, all desires, all expectations are born and shared with joy that is unacclaimed. When you part from your friend, you grieve not, for that which you love most in him may be clearer in his absence, as the mountain to the climber is clearer from the plain. And let there be no purpose in friendship save the deepening of the spirit. And let there be no purpose in friendship save the deepening of the spirit. For love that seeks aught but the disclosure of its own mystery is not love, but a net cast forth, and only the unprofitable is caught. And let your best be for your friend. If he must know the ebb of your tide, let him know its flood also. For what is your friend for what is your friend that you should seek him with hours to kill? Seek him always with hours to live, for it is his to fill your need, but not your emptiness. And in the sweetness of friendship, let there be laughter and sharing of pleasures. For in the dew of little things, the heart finds its morning and is refreshed. Man, I ended up in the meadow. I did. It was like, nature is such an amazing experience because it reflects what life ought to be. In the morning dew rests on the meadow to moisturize and bring subtleness to what would be dry and brittle. And as the sun continues to rise, the rays of the sun harms not the meadow because the water is there to enjoy what the sun brings without the harm of the heat. And they both rise together in an aspect of loving kindness. Because by that time, the moisture that is actually settled in the moisture of the soil also comes to rise and meet the atmosphere of which we breathe. So can be refreshed as well.
All right now.
That's me, y'all. You know, that's me.
So, one of the things that so when I started doing my training in relationship coaching, one of the things that I learned was that, our parents, unfortunately, are not going to be able to meet all of our needs. Like, there's some place where they may actually fall short, even though we may have a deep love and appreciation for them. So one of the things that they talk about is that in terms of relationship, friendships, or whatever, that when we go out into the world, the things where we are experiencing a deficit, that our friendships and in some of our intimate relationships, hi Michael, will be in a place of actually healing those places where we are feeling deficient. And so when he says here, um, your friend is your needs answered. That was the very first thing that really kind of came to mind when I saw that, because again, your parents may not be able to fulfill those needs, and you're going to be in a place of looking to heal those places where you are feeling deficient with the relationships that you have with people, until you come to a place of actually resolving or evolving whatever that may be, in terms of whatever your needs are.
Well, let me see. It says here, your friend is your needs answered.
Mm-hmm.
He is your field, which you sow with love and reap with thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
And he is your board and your fireside. For you come to him with your hunger, and you seek him for peace. Now, we are born into a family. I know she mentioned a parent, but when you're born into a family, that's already structured. That's a manifestation of a divine operation that has its purpose. Because you can't choose your family members, but you are allowed to choose your friends.
Mm-hmm.
So in the choosing of your friends, you're choosing them because there is a need that is by nature yours. You. That's right, you. And all of us have it. And in identifying the needs that we have through divine intelligence, we interact with one another, and we come to the place of seeing that a person has an affinity towards another. Like Rock and Michael, we had worked together, and in the working together, we come to a place of recognizing that, hey, that guy's not all that bad. He's pretty cool, you know. and these are the things that it speaks when it says that he is your field which you sow with love and reap with thanksgiving. For even now, I give thanks for I give thanks for Rock, and my cousin is here with us, Lance. And there's a friendship that is evolving always when it is love that you sow into these things. You know, there's Fran Allen that's with us, and she is a friend because I've met her through a friend. And the beautiful thing about love is it is scattered wide, because that's what love does. It's the beauty of the essence of a fragrance. So just as a flower will have a fragrance that is captured by the breeze, and it just permeates the place. That's really sweet. But don't be wearing no perfume, y'all, that's going to be like killing people. You know, because I've seen people do it. You know, they think that they're a flower, and they go ahead and they take the perfume, and they dump the perfume on them, and then go around a place and people gagging because it's like it's trying to kill them, because it's artificial in the first place.
Well,
But
and it's too
I
much
hope
of
that
it.
didn't hurt nobody's
It is,
feelings.
you know, just a spot here, maybe on the pulse point. You know, you're not supposed to actually douse yourself with the stuff, the fragrance.
Yeah. So the board is recognized as that place of resting, where you can eat, have your meals, have conversation. The fireside is that place of relaxation. And you come to him with your hunger, because you're going to eat. If I'm not mistaken, the board is actually like the table that you eat from, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so that's like room and board. If people went to school, they do that, and I never understood what it was. And they tell me it's a board of education, and I'm like, are they tired now? Anyway, I'm sorry. I digress. All right, moving along. And so it says, when your friend speaks his mind, you fear not the nay in your own mind, nor do you withhold the eye. So if your friend is wearing some perfume, all right, y'all friends, or cologne, because you're friends, you're going to speak on it. You're going to say something. And because you're friends, there's not going to be an offense. And if it is an offense, then the friend should share what they believe the offense is. Because a friend will always protect the friendship. Because both of y'all are on it. Think about that. That's why it's called a ship. Y'all is traveling together. You don't want the ship to go down, because there's a possibility that your friend may not be able to swim in the atmosphere of which the ship appeared to have problems. So make the repairs so that you guys keep sailing. Feel me? It's just an analogy. So, and when he is silent, your heart ceases not to listen to his heart. For without words and friendship, all thoughts, all desires, all expectations are born and shared with joy that is unacclaimed. When Arlene and I was developing this relationship that is the beauty that it is today, she really felt pretty cool about me going in the store and she waiting in the car, and I come back out and whatever she was thinking about, I have in my hand. And she's like, how do you know I needed that?
It still happens.
Yeah.
It still happens.
Yeah.
And I didn't actually vocalize it.
Yeah.
And, or if we're sitting together and I'm thinking a thing, and then it's almost as if intuitively he's picking up on it, or he'll start talking about it, and I'm like, hey, I was just thinking about that. You're up in my head.
Yeah. And see, love is a vibration. And the frequency, when you're attuned, is almost like listening to your favorite radio station. Because that's the favorite person that you come across. So a friend is not an acquaintance, but somebody that there is a deeper experience. And you've been in situations where you come into an environment and you say, man, everything okay? And you say, nah, man. Come on, dude. Yeah, you're not your bubbly self like you was like yesterday. What's going on? You say, man, I'm telling you. And then y'all get into the thing, right?
You don't necessarily say it all with all that drama. But, I think everybody gets your meaning.
Yeah, because depending on the friend that you have, because some people, boy, you have friends that are for a need. Now, I'm going to share this interesting story about this. There was a coworker that I had in Baltimore County Schools. We were going for the same job, but he had more seniority than I. Yet, when he was assigned the position, we were still able to have a rapport. And personalities can clash because we are individuals. But in identifying how to be harmonious, you don't have to have a clash. So I call this guy my difficult friend because our view of things were not on the same level. He wanted to go beat the children up, I'm telling you. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't call his name. But yeah, if people threw trash out, you know, he would actually say something crazy like, man, they keep throwing this trash down here on that daggone track. He said, I wish I can go home and get my AK-47, just go ahead and say, bah! And I was like, dude, what's the matter with you? You ain't supposed to be talking like that. We at school. And see, this was before the traumas that was occurring in schools and all of that stuff was really issue. But the strange thing about it is this guy died. And I was the go-between between him and the other co-workers because he was the supervisor. I was second in command, if you will. But I would protect my co-workers because I know how harsh this guy could be. But when the guy died at home, his wife called me because she didn't know who else to reach out to. Because this guy didn't have any friends. And I knew all the people that he had worked with in our department. And they always had something to talk about in regards to him. They did not, there's a lot of things they didn't like about him. But I accept a person for who they are because that's who they are. What you going to do? Take the leg off and sell it to somebody? You can't change a person if that's what the person and who the person is. When you accept a person for who they are, there is a vibration that protects you because you're operating out of divine love, unconditional love, a place that's going to protect you automatically because the need is being met. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, you sharing that kind of reminds me of, okay, so there was this man, this man that would come into this diner, and he was grumpy, and he would kind of grouse at everybody that came in, but there was this one person who was the waitress, and she was, regardless of how he showed up, she was always caring and she was always kind to him. And I don't know whatever his personal issue was, but what happened was, him coming there was a regular thing. So him not showing up was unusual. And she was the only one that had a concern about him. And I'm not sure of how it came about, but eventually the gentleman's lawyer got in contact with her and let her know that this gentleman that she had serviced all of this time and was kind to, that he had left everything that he had to her. Now, mind you, there were things going on in her life where she was needing a car. There was some other things. So his car, there were some other things that he had. It all went to her, and in his I guess you could say, I believe she received a letter from him. Received a letter from him in conjunction with receiving all of his things from his will, saying that the reason why he left her as his heir was because she was the only person who was kind to him. Can you imagine? The one that, yeah, I guess the thing is that her ability, and I hope to get to this place, because if a person is grumpy, I don't want to be around you. And I will spend my time trying to get away from you. But that's like a great deal of love. That was a great deal of friendship, and obviously he saw in her a friendship, or had some type of affection for her,
Yeah.
because she obviously met a need of his, of being loved, regardless of how he was showing up.
Yeah, because it says, "He is your field which you sow with love
Love.
and reap with thanksgiving." So, in that expression of you, that which you shared, what I can see is he had a need. That's why he would come to the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And he received more than what he could have possibly imagined, just because this person was there. And in reflection, the need exceeded what he came for, to the extent that there was a satisfaction that probably overpowered coming just for a sandwich, because the kindness that was shared was something that he never experienced anyplace else. And in so doing, the thanksgiving was what he released to her that would have just probably floored so many people.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure it had. It said, and so I'm looking at one of the last verses, and when it says, "Let your best be for your friend," because you never know who and how another person views you, and you could be the best friend that they have, and it could be just a casual, so you would believe, passing to and fro. But I say, always let spirit guide your heart, because whatever there is to be fulfilled, the sharing comes in identifying your best, because that's a gift to you to be shared with others. And that's what establishes friendships. Because by nature, that's my choice, to give the best I have of what I am. Because if I don't, then what am I? A giver or a taker? I mean, they say there's one or the other, and you got to choose. So if you're choosing, what you going to do? I would say be a giver. And the thanksgiving is a process of reciprocity. So I don't give with the mindset of looking to receive. I give with the mindset of recognizing the manifestation of the life force is cyclic. When I take a breath, I can't hold that breath and say it's mine and keep it, and then decide to go out someplace with that breath I just took. It just ain't gonna happen, because after a while, I'm gonna run out of whatever that breath had for me. And if I can hold my breath that long, maybe I'll pass out, or I will my body itself will say, "Look, dude, you are not killing me," and it will have to forcibly come back into the process of breathing. I mean, it has to, you know.
No, I got some response to that, but we'll do
Go ahead,
that.
no, come on, do it.
No,
Come on.
No, because that comes along with a bit of an advanced teaching, in terms of us being able to breathe the air that we breathe and things of that nature. Because there are people who are able to hold their breaths for a long time, but they are working on. They're working to
develop a new being of their own self.
Yeah,
The
they're
breatharians, right? Is those the ones you're talking about?
Well, yeah, them too, but you know, others as well. But they're doing some spiritual work and spiritual evolution, and they are the people who are able to hold their breath for a very long period of time.
But they still got to breathe.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
they just breathe differently.
That's all, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's that reciprocity is no matter what, it has to be there because that's the life energy, the vibration thereof is what that expresses for us. For that which you love most in him may be clearer in his absence, as the mountain to the climber is clearer from the plain. And a mountain looks beautiful when you're looking at it from a distance, especially if it's one of those tall mountains that can reach close to the clouds of the sky. And when you see the clouds pass over, it's so picturesque.
Picturesque.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. You'll be like, wow. But you get on that mountain, you climb that mountain. When you start climbing that mountain, you're going to see the rocks. You're going to see. You ain't going to see the same perspective that you saw when you was out in the plane.
And you'll have to adjust your breathing as well.
Especially when you get up there. You get way up there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to really low. So, and let there be no purpose in friendship save the deepening of the spirit. I love that. Because I have friends from even elementary school. Now that's 50 years ago. There was a guy on program this morning. Let's see, I was in elementary school back in the 60s. So that would have been 1962. Lori got there. I was 5. That was my baby sister. 5. So, yeah. So, I mean, I recall him, and he recalls me. But because of the distance that we have as friends, because I haven't seen him in like almost 50 years, really. This is the guy from that Steve Harvey, when we had that Zoom call. And so reached out, and he showed his love and what have you, but, you know, we got other aspects of our lives that we are involved in. But you still say salute. But I have a friend from high school that I can call her today and we'll be on the phone forever. She knows. It's like so crazy, but it's so beautiful because it's like you was just saying. You know, it's like you want to catch up and you're just feeling the vibration and the love is there and you just keep talking and you be like, man, we got to get off the phone, right? Come on now. And I have a friend from college that is on Facebook. That's my boy Andy. What's up? We were roommates, and I'm going to get to visit him. He lives in, should I say it? He lives up New England
area.
Yeah, that way y'all don't be like storming his house and trying to find out. Do you really know him for real? No, I ain't gonna do that to him. So here, I thought it was interesting that it said, "For love that seeks aught but the disclosure of its own mystery is not love, but a net cast forth, and only the unprofitable is caught." So let's go into the girlfriend boyfriend thing. That clingy girlfriend that love that seeks aught but the disclosure of his own mystery. So I don't know if you had any experiences like that, but there are some relationships to where the people don't want you to go nowhere, don't want you to talk to nobody, don't want you to have even conversation with somebody else because they're like, what you talking to her for?
I I wasn't.
I have.
I
Yeah, the
yeah, I
jealousy,
didn't.
that jealousy thing kick
I
off.
yeah, I didn't. I didn't really ever have that experience. Yeah, although I'll acknowledge that my experience with boyfriends was limited.
Okay.
Um, where they, I let's just put it this way. I think that my picker may have been. I know that my picker with one situation that I was involved with, um, where that was a potentiality. I just went ahead and ended it after the second date because he was showing up as somebody who was emotionally needy, and actually that is, I guess you could say, that type of energy is really repellent to friendship.
Well, in a sense, that is what this says here. For love that seeks aught but the disclosure of his own mystery is not love, but a net cast forth. So that's a needy person. You know, their love is expressing itself in such a neediness, because that's what that aspect of the woman who may say that uh, you have a conversation with somebody else, or the waitress comes in and says, "Hey, hon, what would you like for your meal today?" And then when she leaves, she say, "You shouldn't even let her talk to you like that. What she said? What you mean, she hun? You better say." And I'm right here. She's disrespectful. I mean, you know what I'm saying, people. I ain't trying to get into nothing mad and crazy, but I'm just saying, what you end up discovering
Okay.
that it ends up being unprofitable. Only the unprofitable is caught. You know, you'd be like, "Man, come on, for real," and it's not going to benefit nobody. Relationship like that. So let's go to, for what is your friend that you should seek him with hours to kill? Man, seek him always with hours to live, for it is his to fill your need, but not your emptiness. And in the sweetness of friendship, let there be laughter and sharing of pleasures, for in the dew of little things, the heart finds its morning and is refreshed. So your friendship should be a refreshing experience that adds to the flavor of your life and not weigh you down with burdens that is unevenly yoking because somebody's going to get strangled eventually. And then there's a murder charge. No, that's a bit far. What I'm saying is, measure the gift of friendship to be that gift that it is. And if you find that it is something that is contrary to that which is uplifting and divinely suited, then recognize that the season may have expired, because all relationships are for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And identify through divine communion which is what, so that you can remain harmonious in your life's living. That's my wisdom I share, and I'm complete.
Yes, because from what you've told me, you've had more experience with that. But is there anything else that you want to share?
No, I'm good.
You good?
Yeah.
I'm good too.
So we got two good people here. We're going to do some good things. So with that goodness, we're going to bid them adieu.
Yes, we love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. We thank God for you. And we know that wherever you are, God is.
We thank you so much for being here and sharing and listening and enjoying our craziness. Me.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Alrighty.
One love. You gotta press the button. Press the button.
Yeah, well, it's not doing its thing.
Well, let me have it. I'll
Yeah,
show you.
you go ahead. Handle that. Bye, family.